Welcome to Talent War Against Hypertension, our seminar series. Today, we shall focus on family strategies against the silent killer. I'm Ogunlade O, the coordinator, Talent War Against Hypertension. The family, as the basic unit of society, should be a center for promoting healthful living at the grassroots. With increasing age amidst various challenges, most adults in the family have elevated blood pressure with or without appropriate care or concern within the family. In most cases, elevated blood pressure may spring up surprises among the family members, especially the parents. Such surprises may be in the form of collapse or failure to wake up from sleep, with serious implications for the family. These programs aims at transforming the family into a strategic health unit capable of waging war against hypertension, the silent killer. This lecture focuses on educating the family members, irrespective of status, to get a deeper understanding of the body, blood pressure, and strategies against the silent killer. The body. The body is a multi-systemic living vehicle. The systems in the body include the respiratory system, gaseous exchange and breathing, the gastrointestinal system, injection and digestion of food, the nervous system for coordination, perception, and response to stimuli, the excretory system for elimination of the waste from the body, the reproductive system for production of offspring, the musculoskeletal system, this is for support and body movement, the endocrine system for regulation of biochemical processes in the body. However, the focus of this discussion shall be on the cardiovascular system, consisting of the heart and blood vessels, which maintain effective blood supplies to all body organs. Influence of the cardiovascular system on other systems of the body. The cardiovascular system has the blood pressure, generates the blood pressure, which maintains blood supply to the nervous system, that is the brain, the nerves, maintain blood supply to the respiratory system, that is the lung and the airways, then the gastrointestinal system, which is the gut and the viscera. It also maintains blood supplies to the reproductive system, the genitals and the gonads. It maintains blood supplies to the excretory system, the kidneys and the urinary tracts, and other systems in the body. Any interruption of this blood supply will result in major health challenges, a few of which shall be considered in this lecture. What then is the blood pressure? Blood pressure is a force per unit area of the cardiovascular system. The central pump for generating the pressure is the heart, while the blood vessels serve as the distribution channels. The heart is within the chest, but the blood vessels are all over the body. So the heart generates this pressure, and the blood vessel carries the pressure through the entire body for maintaining blood supply, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the body tissues, and also facilitating distributions of heat energy to the body. So as a pump, the heart contracts and relaxes in cycles known as cardiac cycles, or simply referred to in a layman term, the heartbeats. During contraction phase of a cycle, that is systole, blood pressure increases. But during the relaxation phase of the cycle, that is the diastole, blood pressure decreases. Hence, the blood pressure is classified into two, depending on the phase of the cycle in which it is measured. One, I have the systolic blood pressure, SBP, meaning which is the mean of maximum blood pressure when the heart contracts, that is during systole. The diastolic blood pressure, DBP, which is the mean of minimum blood pressure when the heart relaxes, that is during the diastole. Blood pressure is measured in millimeter of mercury. That is, the unit for measurement of blood pressure is called millimeter of mercury. And the values of blood pressure are written as X over Y, whereas X is the systolic blood pressure, Y is the diastolic blood pressure. The systolic blood pressure is the larger figure and it is written up, whereas the diastolic blood pressure is the lower pressure, which is written below. So example of blood pressure figures include 120 over 80 millimeter of mercury, 140 over 90 millimeter of mercury, 200 over 110 millimeter of mercury. Okay, now closely related to blood pressure is the pulse rate, which is the number of heartbeats per minute. Normally, the heart rate or the pulse rate is normally between 60 to 100 beats per minute. Now, there is an instrument very, very important in medicine, which is called the digital blood pressure monitor. This instrument measures both blood pressure and the pulse rate, and it is digital and it is useful at home. So it is a family medical device for checking blood pressure and pulse. Stratification of blood pressure for an adult greater or equal to 18 years. According to the American College of Cardiology guidelines 2017 for detection, prevention, and management and treatment of high blood pressure is stratified into 5 categories. What are these classes? Normal blood pressure, elevated blood pressure, hypertension stage 1, hypertension stage 2, and hypertensive crisis. So, but there is a 6th classification called hypotension. Hypotension, of course, when the blood pressure, systolic blood pressure is less than 90 millimeter of mercury, and diastolic blood pressure is less than 60 millimeter of mercury. The normal blood pressure, according to that classification, is systolic blood pressure between 90 and 190 millimeter of mercury, and diastolic blood pressure between 60 and 79 millimeter of mercury. Whereas blood pressure is considered elevated when the systolic blood pressure is between 120 and 129 millimeter of mercury, and the diastolic blood pressure still remain at 60 to 79 millimeter of mercury. Hypertension stage 1 is when the systolic blood pressure is between 130 and 139 millimeter of mercury, and the systolic or the systolic blood, the diastolic blood pressure is between 80 and 89 millimeter of mercury. Hypertension stage 2, when the systolic blood pressure is between 140 to 180, or D, the systolic blood pressure is between 90 and 120 mercury. Hypertensive crisis is fine when systolic blood pressure is greater than 180 mmHg and or the diastolic blood pressure is greater than 120 mmHg. For this classification, the cutoff for hypertension, where hypertension starts, that is the threshold for diagnosing hypertension, blood pressure, systolic blood pressure greater than 1 or equal to 130 mmHg, and diastolic blood pressure greater or equal to 80 mmHg. Now, what then is hypertension? The silent killer. Hypertension is defined as a persistent elevation of blood pressure. It is known as a silent killer because people with hypertension are without obvious manifestations until it suddenly springs up surprises in terms of deadly complications or sudden death. In most cases, people with hypertension are asymptomatic until complications set in. And this complication may include sudden collapse and paralysis or sudden collapse and death. According to World Health Organization International Society of Hypertension, WHO/ISH guideline, then 2004, hypertension is diagnosed when blood pressure is greater or equal to 140/90 mmHg on 2 or more occasions. But according to American College of Cardiology / American Heart Association guideline 2017, hypertension is diagnosed when blood pressure is greater or equal to 130/80 mmHg on 2 or more occasions. There are two cutoff thresholds here, 140/90, 130/80. The latter definition, it is 130/80, is more advantageous than the first in order to prevent complications of hypertension. And it is a proactive diagnostic figure, the 130/80, to enable early interventions to prevent complications development. Now, what are the types of hypertension? There are two main types, the primary and the secondary hypertension. The primary is otherwise called essential hypertension. In this type, there's no identifiable cause of hypertension. There are associated risk factors, which we shall elucidate in this lecture. It is common among the older adults, usually greater than 45 years of age, and it constitutes 90 to 95% of cases of hypertension. Now, the secondary hypertension. This one has identifiable causes such as kidney disease, thyroid diseases. It constitutes 5 to 10% of cases of hypertension, usually occurring in the young, usually less than 45 years of age. Well then, I will learn about the types of hypertension. Let's look at the risk factors for hypertension. The risk factors for hypertension include non-modifiable risk factors, the factors that cannot be changed. Then we have modifiable risk factors. These are factors that can be changed. Non-modifiable risk factors include the age, increasing age. As one advances in age, then there is risk of increasing arterial wall thickness and risk of developing hypertension. That is why hypertension is common, very common among the older age groups. Then genetics, positive family history of hypertension, presence of hypertension in parents, is a risk factor for developing hypertension in the children. Or presence of hypertension in first-degree relatives is an increased risk factor for development of hypertension among the children in that family. Race. Africans has greater risk of development of hypertension than the whites, the blacks and the whites. Now, even among the blacks, hypertension can involve more complications than among the blacks than the whites. Sex. So less than 60 years of age, male are at risk of developing hypertension than females. But after the age of 60, this affects neutralizes, and male and female have equal chance of developing hypertension. Even male was among the female, the modifiable risk factors. So dietary indiscretions, excess salt, excess seasoning, drinks, intake of drinks such as energy drinks, alcohol, sweet drinks. Now, stress, inability to cope with stress, and obesity. Obesity in our environment is considered as well-fed. The person will be considered as an important person because it's fat. But obesity is actually a disease state, predisposing to various diseases such as hypertension, obesity, sleep apnea syndrome is another respiratory disease. Then another risk factor for hypertension is smoking. Smoking increases the thickness of the blood vessels, resulting in hypertension and its complications. Then physical inactivity. What then are target organ damage due to hypertension? The presence of hypertension in an individual increases propensity for target organ damage. Important organs in the body will be damaged by hypertension. What are these organs? Main target organs including brain, the heart itself, kidneys, and the eyes. Damage to the brain will result in stroke, sudden collapse, paralysis, or sudden collapse, and death. Another complication there is vascular dementia, that is manifested as impairment of memory and judgment. This usually occur after repeated small strokes. Person will develop dementia, lack of memory, that will be impairment. That is, impairment of memory referred to as increasing forgetfulness, impairment of judgment. An entity called hypertensive encephalopathy. This occurs in a setting of severely elevated blood pressure and manifests with irrational behaviors and even seizure, convulsions in adults. So when the brain is damaged by hypertension, can result in stroke, vascular dementia, hypertensive encephalopathy. When hypertension damages the heart, it results in heart enlargement called left ventricular hypertrophy in medical term. Cause angina pectoris, and heart attack, otherwise known as myocardial infarction. Cause cardiac arrhythmia, cause cardiac arrest, then heart failure and cardiac asthma. What then is the effect of the hypertension on kidney? It results in kidney disease and kidney failure. Then what about the effects of hypertension on the eyes? Hypertension damages the blood supplies to the eyes and the nerve of the eyes, so resulting in poor vision. Overall, hypertension causes premature death by damaging the brain, heart, and the kidney. Now, having known what is hypertension, its risk factors, its dangers, what then are the family strategic dietary measures against the silent killer? The rule is that moderate your taste towards health preservation and promotion. How can we do this? Tend towards a vegetable-based diet. We prefer natural food to processed food items. Quit red meat. Red meat causes or predisposed to development of hypertension, diabetes, obesity, and even cancer. So it is not good for the body. Instead, prefer white meat, such as including fish and poultry. As source of protein, can supplement with egg, milk, and plant-based proteins. Now, moreover, you should minimize the use of salt and food seasonings. You should prefer vegetable oil to animal oil. You should avoid intake of animal fat. To ensure adequate intake of water, which is the best drink for normal body function. We should minimize or preferably quit alcohol consumption. Warning, don't take energy drinks. They are dangerous to the heart and the body. We should avoid soft drinks intake. We should quit tea flavored with stimulants. We should quit tea flavored with stimulants. To moderate food intake. Don't take excess food, because excess food is converted to fat, resulting in obesity and development of hypertension, diabetes, and other complications. What are the strategic behaviors and partnership? 1, engage in regular exercise to keep fit and reduce excess weight. Have sufficient sleep at night. Greater or equal to 7 hours per night is recommendable. Then avoid persistent, deliberate sleep deprivation. Be calm amid the storm of life. Develop healthful coping strategies. Avoid associates that promote unhealthful behaviors such as alcohol drinking groups, smoking groups. Then partner with family members, friends, and fellows to benefit from healthful lifestyle. Partner with healthcare workers and institutions that promote healthful living, and ensure periodic blood pressure measurements at home in partnership with the family members. What are the strategic family practices? Each family should get a talent war against hypertension kit, TWA kit, or its equivalent, and ensure its usage by adult members in the families periodically. Each member of the family should understand when stress is overwhelming so as to calm down timely. Deliberately adjust your lifestyle towards healthful living and seek clarification about your blood pressure and take healthful actions. What then is the TWA kit? TWA kit is the talent war against hypertension kit. It has 3 components. 1, digital blood pressure monitor for blood pressure measurement at home. Blood pressure measurement at home is very, very important. In fact, it is important than the single blood pressure reading at the clinic. So in the course of this lecture, we learned how to measure blood pressure accurately at home. Then the second component is heart survivor diary, one for each adult in the family. It is for keeping a record of the blood pressure and pulse rate over a period of 1 year. Then the third component is silent killer. This is a medical novel for understanding the dangers of the silent killer. So the three components are complementary: digital blood pressure and BP monitor, the heart survivor diary, and the silent killer, a novel for enlightenment purpose. So the digital blood pressure monitor has this, the body and this cuff. The cuff has various sizes, but the cuff size 22 to 42 centimeter will accommodate various body sizes. Now, this has survivor diary. It's a book, which pages 1 to 11 enlighten things about blood pressure, but pages 12 to the end serves as diary, 1 year diary. Now, this book, The Silent Killer, illustrates in layman term language the complications, dangers of the silent killer, how the family can escape these dangers. The important question now is when to measure blood pressure. Blood pressure should be measured around the same times of the day. You choose the time. Either in the morning, in the evening, you choose the time. And you are consistent with this time on daily basis. Measure the blood pressure in the morning and in the evening and keep the record. Blood pressure may also be measured more frequently according to physician's advice if need be. Measure the blood pressure before exercise, food, or drug intake. This video tells us how to measure blood pressure accurately. You should have been listening.
How to measure blood pressure in sitting position. Sit up with your back straight and relax. Ensure that the BP monitor is placed on a platform at the level of the heart. Ensure that your legs are uncrossed and feet are placed on the ground. Rest for at least 5 minutes before BP measurement. There should be no smoking nor intake of drug, alcohol, energy drink, nor caffeinated tea 30 minutes before measuring BP. Ensure that the BP monitor cuff size is appropriate for your body build. A cuff size of 22 to 42 centimeter accommodates a wide range of body build and is recommended. If battery powered, ensure that the batteries are in good condition belonging to the same set. Roll up the sleeve on your arm for insertion of the curve of the BP monitor. Wear the curve and ensure that its lower end is about 1 inch, that is 2.5 centimeter above the bend of your elbow. Ensure that the cuff tube is at the midpoint of the elbow. The cuff should be snugged around the bare arm but not too tight. Rest the forearm on the plane bearing the BP monitor and ensure that the palm faces upwards while the fingers are relaxed. Avoid distractions such as conversation, phone usage, watching television, or reading news items when measuring the BP. When you are ready, turn on the BP monitor and press Start button.
The device is ready for use. You may start measuring.
Stay still as measurement continues. The BP monitor will display three figures. The upper figure is the systolic blood pressure, the middle figure is the diastolic blood pressure, while the lower figure is the pulse rate. Record the blood pressure 3 times, 1 to 2 minutes apart.
Systolic, 138 millimeters of mercury. Diastolic, 84 millimeters of mercury. Heart rate, 76 beats per minute. The device is ready for use. You may start measuring. Systolic, 136 millimeters of mercury. Diastolic, 81 millimeters of mercury. Heart rate, 75 beats per minute. The device is ready for use. You may start measuring. Systolic, 131 millimeters of mercury. Diastolic, 80 millimeters of mercury. Heart rate, 71 beats per minute.
Document the 3 sets of figures in the Art Survivor Diary on other books dedicated for that purpose. Remove the curve from your app and keep the BP monitor in a safe location. Your mean blood pressure is the average of the last 2 sets of BP readings, that is, the mean of the second and third BP figures. Always present your Art Survivor Diary to the healthcare workers at the clinic for healthful decision making.
Now, having watched the video, this is a page of the Heart Survivor Diary, which accommodates a week reading, morning and evening reading. So when you measure the blood pressure the first time, you document the 3 readings here. The second time, you document the second set of readings here. we document the third set of reading here, determine the mean by adding the second plus the third to get the mean. Systolic blood pressure, for the diastolic blood pressure, for the pulse rate. The same thing for the evening. Now, the first set of reading are not utilized because they are not accurate. So it's the response of the blood pressure to the use of the device. So it's not used. So it's the second and the third reading that are considered, but the first reading are recorded, not utilized. It's an example of blood pressure reading. You see the upper panel shows the first reading 167, 107, 103. The second reading 165, 106, 102. The third reading 163, 104, 98, and the mean, which is addition of the second and the third divided by 2, you get 164. The same thing, addition of second and third divided by 2, you get 105. Addition of this and this divided by 2, you get the same thing for the evening. This blood pressure is not well controlled. So let's say the lower panel. The lower panel reflects a blood pressure that is well controlled. So this is the first set of reading, the second set of reading, the third set of reading, and the mean, which is addition of the second and the third reading divided by 2. Get this. The same thing for the diastolic blood pressure, the same thing for the pulse rate, the morning and in the evening. It's always good to keep record of the blood pressure reading. Now, yes, index to the book is a graph for tracking, long-term tracking of blood pressure. So the mean of the blood pressure reading for the week, which is estimated by adding the mean of the days, the mean for the days of the week. For instance, mean for the for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That would be addition together. The sum will be divided by 7 to get the mean for that week. Depending on the number of days that the blood pressure is measured. So you sum it up and divide by that number of days, you get the mean for the week. So for the morning and for the evening. So this can be plotted in the graph. So the graph is showing. So now for the systolic blood pressure, the upper portion, the diastolic blood pressure, you see that it's color coded and it's graded according to the stratification of the blood pressure. So there's the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, and the gray. The red is a fire zone, dangerous zone. So we don't usually want the blood pressure to be there and remain there. So, and now to plot it, the mean for the this week, this 1, 2, 3 stand for week, this is the morning, assuming the systolic blood pressure mean is 125. So just come here, you plot it for that week. The same thing you do for the next week, another week, until a year. It accommodates 1 year recording. See this blood pressure now. So this is the wave above is for the systolic blood pressure. It's not well controlled throughout the year. Now, so the diastolic blood pressure is not well controlled. So this person operates a danger zone. Now, the second one shows very good control. Now, initially the blood pressure was not controlled, but over a period of 1 to 2 weeks, it was controlled properly. It's in the blue zone, normal zone throughout the year. The same thing for the diastolic blood pressure, well-controlled blood pressure. So this kind of person may not experience, the likelihood of this person to experience danger from hypertension is very remote. Whereas the likelihood of this person, this one, the danger zone for collapsing or not waking up from the sleep is very, very high. Now, in conclusion, blood pressure is an important determinant of well-being. Persistently elevated blood pressure is dangerous. Blood pressure monitoring should be integrated into the family routine. Every member of the family should learn how to measure blood pressure accurately and apply the skill among members of the family. Together, we can prevent the silent killers, next surprises in the family. Now, there are fora for getting more information. One is the blood pressure education forum, which is a WhatsApp group. To get in, you can click on the link here. Now, for the blood pressure education forum Google Classroom, so to join, it is by clicking on the link below. And this Google Classroom provides materials, educational materials on blood pressure for easy access and assimilation. Now, for more information, you can contact the coordinator of this program at O.Ogunlade@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.